Tell me that wasn't a hell of a lot of fun.
That was awesome.
I think I just noticed, are you talking to the light?
Yes, I am. Oh, that's the camera?
There you go.
Next time I'll talk to the Welcome to Forward, a podcast from Hard Knock Press, where we explore the ideas, stories, and conversations that help build better athletes and better people. I'm Kevin Mulhearn, alongside Joe Clemente. Let's get started. Folks, welcome to Forward, Better Athletes, Better People, episode number 7. Today we're going to talk about hustle. I've been watching a lot of baseball lately, as I'm prone to do, and it's been driving me nuts how even major leaguers don't hustle. I've seen 3 guys for the Yankees go down on strikes, third strikes, in the dirt, balls in the dirt. This first base is unattended, ball is live, and instead of running the first base, they put their head down in resignation and walk to the dugout. The catcher doesn't even have to throw it. Every time I saw it 3 times. So Jazz Chisholm, I saw Grisham, and I saw Austin Wells all strike out on balls in the dirt, live, walk back to the dugout. I have to tell you, as a coach, if that happened to me and my kid did that, I'd be all over him. And if he did it twice, well, if he did it once, I might put him on the bench. If he did it twice, I would certainly put him on the bench and let him hear about it. How do we teach our kids how to hustle when they're watching their major league role models and the role models are distinctly not hustling?
Yeah, hey, Cap. Listen, the first and foremost, you and I both agree that hustling is something that you can control. No matter what it is, right? You don't need skill for it. So as coaches, we turn around and we're like, hey, guys, everything that we do on this field, we hustle, right? We hustle on and off the field. You hustle down the first, on a strike, drop third, all this stuff, okay? The scenario that you run into with something like that is we are coaching our kids to hustle, to do all that stuff, and there's an old saying, I know this is going to be bad, but there's an old saying, you need to do all that until you get paid for it. And I know that sounds like really rude, but even though you're getting paid for it, you're still a role model. It aggravates me. But a lot of those people, they start to believe it.
Well, at some point, does a pro coach lose control of the ability to get on a guy for hustling? I saw Juan Soto a couple of weeks ago, hits a routine grounder to second base, dogs it, guy butchers it, kicks it again, picks it up, and throws him out by half a step.
And he's still out.
Because he was maybe going 50% until he saw the bobble, and then he picked it up to 75%. But he should have been out. He should have been safe by 10 feet. Instead, he's out. If I'm a manager, I go nuts about that play. But what is a manager making $800,000 a year going to do to a player who's making $70 million? Is he going to put him on the bench? But again, it's an awful example for kids.
It's terrible. It's terrible. But
because my kid, if my kid got thrown out on the ball because he dogged it, I'd be over his face. I'd be bitching and moaning, and I'd probably put him on the bench immediately.
You would definitely do that, especially before you read the book.
Well, even after I read the book,
I know.
I don't think the books. I don't think
it wasn't going to stop you from coaching side.
That was good. I used to have a mantra which I used to tell all the kids that is a bit egocentric, but I used to say, no walking on my baseball field. You get in between the white lines of that baseball field. There's no period of time you should ever walk, ever. You walking off the field or on the field, it should drive me crazy. And I'll give you an example, just to tell you the kind of player I was a kid. I wasn't blessed with a lot of talent. I didn't have nearly the talent of my son, for instance. But I was one of those guys, when I was in the dugout, the third out is I'm sprinting to my position. I'm on the field. I'm smoothing the dirt over at first base and third base where I played. I'm kicking the grass. I'm checking the wind. I'm pounding the glove. I'm ready before they even get off the field. I'm not lollygagging. That was how I played. That's how my father taught us how to play. And when I was coaching, there's a one absolute, you have to run at all times on the field. It drives me seeing kids walk off a field. I used to always get on kids, no walking on my baseball field. There's no reason for it. But you see a lot of major leaguers walk. You see a lot of majors lollygag. You see them go 20%, 30%. They hit a ball to first base. They break it down before they even get halfway to the bag. And what do you tell your kids that you coach about hustle when you have to deal with that mindset that's so prevalent in the major leagues of not hustling is okay?
Listen, I've had plenty of kids look at me and be like, why don't you touch first? Like you hit a ground ball, why don't you touch first? So and so doesn't do it.
So you're talking about the peel off.
Yeah, the peel off, right? They're just running and then they just roll
as a
off.
coach, what do you tell a kid who pulls a peel off?
Yeah, I'm like, yo, go touch first. And they're like, oh, so and so does. And again, it's the same thing. Listen, when you're making $70 million a year in the big leagues and you're playing 200 games a year and your body's tired and you're hurt and all that stuff, then you can tell me that. But until you go write that check, until you sign that check, you better run your ass down to first base because there is no excuse for that.
As a coach, is hustle often a determinant of who plays and who doesn't play?
Oh, you know that. Yeah. You're asking me a question. You already know the answer.
I know the answer to that
right?
question, but I just want you to give me a nice canned answer.
So that's absolute, right? That's an absolute. There's a few cardinal sins in this world, and that's one of them, right? You need to know that you are going to hustle. No, I shouldn't have to tell you that. As a coach, right, you should know that coming onto our field. And the guys that, and it was funny, you were talking about it a little while ago about what was going on. The difference between you and a lot of the kids nowadays, and I hate to say this, everybody, but you were obsessed. You were obsessed. Not every kid is obsessed anymore because there's a club team every 5 feet, right? Mommy and daddy can pay and you can go play. And because I paid the money, you're going to play, right? When you get to high school, that's a different story. And they don't know that. People don't realize that. They're like, I see it all the time. They're like, well, coach, he made the team, so he's going to play. No, that's not how it. He's got to earn his way. And if we're going to put the best 9 guys out on the field.
You know, you write in your book, you say be obsessed. And it's interesting because you don't see a lot of kids in a lot of programs be obsessed. And people say, oh, obsessed is bad. You don't want to be obsessed about anything. Obsession is no good. But my answer to that is to be great at something, you need to be obsessed. If you're not obsessed, you won't be great. You can be really good, but if you're not obsessed, you can't be great. I can tell you, and I wasn't a great baseball player, but I know my twin brother and I, we squeezed every ounce of that lemon that God gave us as a baseball body. We would go to poly prep after baseball practice was over at 6:00. The buses were at 6:20 or so, where the buses would leave from poly prep to take us home. But we during the season, almost every day we had practice, we would say, the hell with the buses. We're going to throw batting practice for another hour and a half to each other. We would throw until maybe 8:00 and then take a quick shower, and 8:15 catching a city bus. We have to take 2 buses home. It would take about an hour and 20 minutes to get home. We get home about 9:30 most nights of baseball. And that was not something that was crazy for us. We just wanted to be the best we could be, and we knew that we weren't getting enough batting practice in the regular practice. 10 swings is just not enough.
Never.
And I can tell you, Dennis goes to Don Bosco Prep, one of the best baseball programs in the state, if not the country. We were still hitting after practice most nights that he wasn't playing games. We would go to Stone Point Park with Elio and Dylan and hit until it got dark. Most nights.
Because they were obsessed.
Well, they wanted to be the best they could be.
That's the only way you're going to be the best.
And that's a 2025 team that almost every kid on the team was like that. They were pushing themselves to the nth degree.
We don't have that anymore. The reason why you see these kids that stand out, those kids are obsessed. And you just take a look at their profiles. Everything's on social media now, like Perfect Game and PBR and all that stuff. And you look at and everyone's like, oh, look at that guy. I always hear the same kids. Oh, look at that guy. Look at that guy. Look at that guy. Look at that guy. And then all of a sudden you see him posting a video of his workouts. And you're like, damn, what? He doesn't really do that. He really gets up at 4:30 in the morning? No, he doesn't. He really goes to sleep at 9? No way. Come on. Does he really eat like that? Get out of here. Does he really train like that? Yeah, because that's what it takes.
But the interesting thing about obsession is sometimes you could be obsessed and you're still not given enough talent to be a major league player or even a college player. Sometimes you're obsessed and all you can do is get through high school as a high school player. And that's okay because we're all given our talents. Some people are given bodies that are meant to be special on a spectacular stage. A guy like Barry Bonds or Ken Griffey, they just have this God-given talent that they nurture as well. But the talent is just on loan from God, as they say. Yeah. So, and not everybody gets that. Sometimes somebody obsessed is still going to peak out as a high school baseball player or a college baseball player. There's no guarantee that obsession is going to lead to the outcomes and result that you want. But what I tell my son and kids I used to coach is that it doesn't matter what the outcome is at the end of the day. You got to look yourself in the mirror and say that I do my absolute best. And really, that you can inculcate a child with that mindset, not just in sports, but in everything, school and everything else. Did you do your best? Can you look yourself in the mirror and say, I did my absolute best at this? And whatever the outcome, you played, you started, you're all league, what have you, whatever. It doesn't really matter. It's did you get the most out of yourself at all times? And that's something that kids, I think it's our job as parents, is to instill that drive in kids just to maximize their abilities in anything and everything they put their mind to. And to be obsessed in a healthy way, in a productive way, about things that they have some control over. And again, you talk about control. We always go back to baseball because baseball is our sport. But there's so many things in baseball that you have no control of. You could be a great team. You could be a great high school team. I know this has happened to some of our teams in the past. You can be a great high school team, and you run into that buzzsaw guy throwing 95 with a nasty slider who's going to wipe you out and give you a 0 for 7 innings. That happens, and there's nothing you can do about it. Sometimes you just got to tip your cap and acknowledge that you were beaten by a better man on a particular day. But what you can do is go back that next day and work on high velo and work on trying to hit the slider off the machines, just doing everything you possibly can to maximize your own particular skills. And that's the one nice thing about high-level sports that I've seen with the Don program, and then even in Tennis's college program at Union College. They really work hard at maximizing their abilities. And anything less is just you're shortchanging yourself. You're shortchanging your gifts. You're shortchanging your parents. You're shortchanging yourself and your future. Maximize your ability. Try to be great. You're not going to always be great, but always try to be great. You can always try to be great. You're never going to always be great, but you can always try to be great. And so many kids are content to be good, and that's not enough in this world. It's a tough world out there. You have to try to be great at something.
Well, think about this, right? Cap, if you take a look at all of the kids, we use baseball, but this could go for any sport. If you look at the kids who actually succeed and get to the big leagues, when you look at them at a young age, they were okay. They were never. Most of those guys were never the stars because they needed to be driven. They were hungry. They were obsessed. They wanted to be better than the guy next to them. Remember, we talked about this. Some kids are physically more mature. Some kids, they get it, okay? When you look at the Little League World Series, there's a handful of kids there that in the past, I'm watching the Little League World Series, and I see all the guys that were in the Little League World Series that made it to the big leagues. Yeah. But when you look at it, you could probably count, you know what I'm saying? There's probably 20 of them.
Not many.
No, that's what I'm saying. So you look at those kids that were in the Little League World Series, or those kids that were in Little League, they were obsessed. They didn't just let their talent go away and then all of a sudden not make it. But if you look at that, okay, you really, you watch it's an uphill, right? It's a climb, we call it, right? You're talking about the climb. The kids that continue to get better year after year and they keep progressing, those are the kids that you're going to watch make it, whether it's to a big-time college or they're going to get to the minors or they're going to make it to the big leagues, because the progression keeps moving upward. The kids that flatline, the kids that are really good, and they go like this, they're gone, right? The kids that all of a sudden they were way up here, I'll tell you right now, if you're a guy way up here at a young age, I feel bad for you because it's really hard to stay there. So you have to be obsessed if you want that shot, because now everybody expects you to be the best. The guy that just very gradually gets better every year, very quiet, keeps hustling. All of a sudden he gets a shot, goes in, takes advantage of it. Those are the guys, and scouts and coaches, college coaches, high school coaches, that's what they want to see. They want to see progression. They don't want to see kids that just go up and because it's really easy to be like, I have all this talent, so I don't have to practice. I don't have to be obsessed. I can hit the ball 400 feet.
Well, that can be a deadly combination. Great talent and lack of drive, because you can still be good if you have great talent, but you won't be great.
They usually say the scouts usually call it, this kid's got a bag full of talent and a 5-cent head. That's how they talk about it. When they say whenever you're
or
around,
a pitcher, $1 million arm and a 5-cent
and a 5-cent head. Yeah. So those are like the guys, the guys and women, men and women that scout for all these sports, whatever it is, baseball, you know what I'm saying, anything, they know what they're doing. They know what they're looking for. Most of the time they show up not to see you do well. Most of the time they show up to see you fail, to see if you're still going to be a good teammate, how you're going to react. Are you going to hustle? Or are you just going to put your head down? Body language. Are you just going to mope? Right? So we learn a lot from kids hustling on and off the field in between games. I used to have a coach who used to tell me, I used to see how fast it used to take kids to run from the dugout to their car to get something to eat and run back to the dugout and be ready before game time. I was like, what? Like, yeah. Like, that means that kid wants to play. Yep. That means that the game was more important than the food.
Right.
I said, I get it.
Obsessed.
I get it.
Obsessed.
He's obsessed,
yeah.
Man. He's obsessed.
I can tell you, learning that is a good thing. But baseball is getting harder and harder. I told you, when I played back in the day, I won't give my age away, but a few years ago, a good varsity pitcher would throw low 80s, 82, 83, maybe. And they were good.
You got that in Little League right now.
Are you kidding?
Yeah,
the kid's 12 years old. They're throwing 77. It's crazy.
It's like 107 in the major leagues.
Mizorowski got clocked a couple of days ago, 105.
That's crazy.
105.5.
Crazy, dude.
That means you take a 100-mile-an-hour fastball, which is crazy hard to hit. Add that much. Add a 1.5 of velo on it. That's 105.5.
And he's what? He's 6'6", right?
Yeah, 6'5".
Or 6'7".
Yeah.
No, he's 6'6", right?
So the ball's coming out there.
Come on, man. By the time he releases it, I just put it in the catcher's mitt.
I want to ask you this about hustle. You ever see a kid who did not have a lot of talent and he worked his way into becoming a really good ball player just by sheer will, sheer force of hustle?
I see that more times than not, because coaches, we want the guys that want to be there. We want the kids who are always working hard, always hustling. And usually what happens is we'll find or get them involved because they want to be involved. And as they get involved and their skill level, like when they're practicing with kids that are better than them, all of a sudden that skill level that was like this, now all of a sudden starts to catch up. And then all of a sudden they're even. And then all of a sudden their hustle and the way that they go about playing the game and their knowledge, it just starts to take off. So I'll tell you right now, anybody who's out there that plays this game, let's talk about baseball, and this can go for any sports, but anybody who plays the game of baseball, and right now you look up and down your roster and the kids on the bench, okay, and you look at the worst kid on that team, that's the kid you got to worry about. That's the kid you got to worry about, because if he gets obsessed and all of a sudden little Johnny wasn't 8 at 12 years old, but his dad and his mom are both 6 foot plus, and all of a sudden the projection is going to be, and now he's in the weight room, he's working out, he hits every day, he fields every day, he runs every day, he's working on all aspects. And by the way, when the coach is like, hey, Johnny, go to center field, the kid, like a rocket ship, he just sprints out there.
See, I know I'm old school a little bit, and people are going to say, I'm going to start talking like, get off my lawn, right? So, at the same time, you have to put your kid in a program where a coach is going to uphold the standard and insist on a standard of hustle. And if a kid doesn't hustle, there are consequences. The problem with so many kids that I see is that if they don't hustle, there are no consequences, right?
Yeah. What about the guys?
Got it right in there.
Yeah, but I got it right. That's my guy, man. There we go. That's my guy. So how many times have you seen, just probably in the last 2 years alone, maybe not our team, but kids like teams that we played against. Guy hits a fly ball, jogs out of the box. And all of a sudden the wind takes it. All of a sudden kid drops it.
He's at
They
first.
stand on first base.
Yeah, a lot.
And coaches are losing their mind because they could have made that difference. Now all of a sudden they lose the game by a run later on, right? And the kid who struck out, he is miserable. Miserable. I let the team down. I lost the game for us. No, you didn't. The guy who didn't hustle out of the box, no disrespect, but you could have given us a better chance to win.
And the guy who didn't hustle, he went to second on the line drive base, hit the left center instead of scoring if he had been on second base. That's the game.
That's how it works.
But you have to play with coaches who see the long game, not just the short game, because sometimes the coach is afraid to have consequences. I'll give you an example. I won't name names. I don't want to embarrass anybody. But we had freshman year. We had one of our best players. You know who it is. So I'm not telling you any stories out of school.
Can't hint.
He was a very talented kid, probably our best or second best hitter. And we're playing Del Barton in that little field that has a 200-foot right field fence. You hit a ball.
Was it Del Barton or DePaul?
No, it was Del Barton. It was
the tree and the
mini
across the street.
The mini freshman field, right?
Yeah.
So
check swing home run field.
There were a bunch of home runs that day, but in the latter part of the game, we're down a couple of runs, and this talented kid, hits a pop up to the pitcher. He doesn't run. Guy drops the ball, but the kid never got out of the box. Throws him out of first base. Immediate consequences. Out of the game. They pulled him right then and there. He didn't go back out to play defense the next inning. And wouldn't you know, we tied the game, came up in extra bases loaded, 2 outs, and his spot in the lineup comes up. Instead of having one of our best hitters hit, we had one of our substitute guys who wasn't nearly as good a hitter hit. And he made out, and we lost the game by a run down the road. But I respect what that coach did. Not just told the kid who didn't hustle learned a lesson that day, hopefully. I'm sure he did.
No doubt.
But every single kid on the team sees these guys are no joke. I had best hustle because if he doesn't hustle and he gets pulled out, I'm not nearly as good as that kid. If I don't hustle, you know where I'm going to find a seat on the bench really quickly if I don't do it 100% and hustle my butt off out there. And I thought that was a great lesson. We lost the game, but at the end of the day, I can tell you that particular group of boys, they went all the way to the state championship in 2025. I don't remember anybody ever not running out a fly ball or ground ball or any other kind of play. Hustled to the very end for 3 years plus. When you were coaching them JV the next year, that team played the right way. And a lot of that is coaching and part of parenting too. Because a parent needs to back up the coach and say, you got to hustle. There's no excuse. There's a lot of excuses for a lot of things. You can strike out, your swing is off, you're having a tough time seeing, the lights are bad, whatever. But there is no excuse for not running out a ball hard. There's no excuse for not trying your absolute best on the field, ever. You ever run into a situation where a parent came down on you for upbraiding his kid for not hustling?
Well, first of all, the easiest way to gain respect from all of your players is when your top dog does something like that, he pays the consequences. Because once you do that, you just gotten the attention of every player. And it's like, all right, if he's going to do it to that guy, and they all know that he's the best player or one of, they're like, just like you said. Have I ever had issues with parents? Of course. Parents are always going to blame you or something else or the situation. But we always talk about better athletes, making them better people. This is not just about sports, right? This is about being able to make sure that one of these days when they're in the real world, whatever they're doing, whether it's their own business, they're working in finance or for somebody, they're an attorney, they have to be able to understand that this is the way it needs to be done. So it may not, nobody thinks it affects them right then and there, but we're not worried about that. We need to make sure that we set the tone for the rest of the team and they understand what we expect, and that's not going to be tolerated. And second of all, that's going to help him down the road. That's going to help them down the road to understand, like, hey, there are rules and regs, and even though I'm good at it, I need to continue. I need to be a role model, not somebody who's just going to kind of dog it all the time.
Now, don't you feel that you've coached against a lot of kids and a lot of teams? Are there some coaches who will coddle their top dog players and not get on them for not hustling and basically tolerate it? I've seen that a lot myself.
You just asked me that question.
Yeah.
Cap, I love you because when you ask questions, you already know the answer, right? This is so awesome.
Well, this is a podcast.
No, I know, but listen, he is one of the smartest people I know. But yes, I agree.
Information purposes. I'm for your softballs, Joe. Come on.
Yeah, I get these are easy, right?
Yeah.
So of course we deal with it. We deal with that all the time, and it's hard. Like I think it's hard for parents to actually understand what's going on because nobody can ever do wrong. But again, coaches have to win or want to win. Let's put it that way. And they're more afraid nowadays with all these teams around, even in high school. You get the free transfer, right? One free transfer. So if I don't like what the coach says to me, I'm going. That's not what we're talking about. Use the transfer to better your career if that's what you feel like, hey, I'm stuck here. There's really no shot. I'm not disrespecting anybody. Those kids are really good. I just need to go find a better opportunity for like that's understandable. Any coach would say, hey, I'll help you. I'll call them. Let me know where you're going. The guys that are like, or the players that are like, well, I'm going to transfer because so-and-so, like he said that I wasn't good enough. And like, what are you talking about, dude? Be real. Like he told you that because you were dogging it. You weren't hustling, right? And you're definitely not obsessed, even though you're talented.
Right.
So get off your behind, wake the hell up, and let's get after it. And if that's not you, then we really don't have a spot for you.
Do you see a lot of parents back up the coach by verbally getting on their kids for not hustling without even the coach doing it?
I do see that.
Yep.
I do see that.
And what do you think of that when that happens?
Most of them, from what I've seen, handle it the right way. It's not a screaming and yelling, berating, but there is a conversation. The parents have the conversation and like, hey, man, what's going on? They tell them what happens. Like, well, we got to be better at that. That handles well. The parents that make a huge scene at the fence when you're walking out and they're screaming and yelling at the kid, then that's for them. That show is for them. That wasn't about the kid. They just want to make a show to let everybody know that little Johnny screwed up, and I'm going to make sure that I reprimand him because at the end of the day, those people probably told him to act that way or taught him how to act that way.
But again, that's a big difference because your kid's going to have poor outcomes sometimes. Sports are brutal. They're hard games. And, you know, in every sport, they're hard. And you have other teams competing against your kids trying to beat them. And they're going to do that sometimes. And your kid's going to screw up sometimes. It's inevitable. But you really can't get on a kid too bad for screwing up performance-wise. He strikes out and makes a throwing error or ball goes through his legs or something physical. There's a big difference between a physical error and a mental error and or the worst crime in my mind is the lack of hustle error. You lose a game because you see it in the World Series. The Yankees against the Mets. Guy hits the ball off the fence for the Mets, and they throw him out of the home plate because he broke it down between second and third and wasn't busting it. They lost the run. It was a one-run game. That's a possible World Series loser. You lose the whole enchilada by not doing the easiest thing, which is running hard from the time you're on the base until you get home.
But Cap, you do have. Let's not that I'm disagreeing.
I'm a fanatic about that.
No, I know that. Not that I'm disagreeing.
The word is obsessed.
Yeah, but he has 100%. Yeah. I'm not disagreeing with that. I just think that we need to keep the category of the big leaguers and everybody else in a different situation there, maybe a different scenario, because those guys in the big leagues, like, yes, they get paid a ton of money, and there's no excuses, but you don't know what they're dealing with. 162 games, 200 games, plus spring training. They get to the playoffs. You just don't know. Guy could have a bum. The coaches, I don't know if you know this, but pro coaches will be like, hey, man, just jog because they don't want to lose them. The problem is that us on TV, we don't see that. And you being obsessed and me being obsessed.
Giancarlo Stanton, but apparently he's got a tough time staying healthy, even in his rehab. He's pulling different. He's got more muscles to pull.
Yeah, and it's hard. It's really hard.
Yeah.
So like, I'm not that look, there are easy ones that when a guy's 100% that dogs it, those are simple, right? I don't think you're ever going to see somebody dog it. I would hope not in the World Series, in a playoff game, something like that, because that's even the want is even heightened through the roof. But you see that during regular season game where they don't think it's going to matter, and unfortunately, the viewers and all the millions of kids that see that now think it's okay. And that's the problem.
Well, how about this? Here's a get off my lawn moment. The guy gets up, hits the ball, and he thinks it's a home run. He watches, he stares, he maybe bat flips, he showboats, he does a little twist, he does a little turn, he does a little dance. The ball lands first row in the seats, even if a home run. Say it lands first row home run. That's 2 feet away. It's a gust of wind from hitting off the wall, and you're lucky if you make first base. That blows my mind when I see a guy do that. You put your head down, you hit the bag, you see it over the fence, you can break it down. You can do the Irish jig between second and third at that point, but make sure you have a home run. You see so many guys that are doing this premature celebrating, and now I see kids do it. I see kids hit the ball, and Diamond Nation break it down with the bat flip, and the
ball stays in the yard.
Yeah, of course. Come on,
well,
fellas.
we're of the old school, right? The old school that we were taught was, hey, it's 2 out of the box no matter what.
Yep.
Base hit, fly ball, line drive, it's 2 out of the box. I don't want to hear. My coach was like, hey, I don't want to hear nothing. And as long as you did that, and good things happened, and what I was taught was, and this is kind of how I went with it, is that home runs were just doubles that started running out of room.
That's why I used to love John Sterling's calls for the Yankees.
Yeah.
So how many times it is high, it is far, it is caught 5 feet before the center field fence.
It's at the warning track.
Yeah. You heard a lot.
W.
You heard a lot. Although I wouldn't trade John Sterling for any announcer. I love the way he called the baseball game. It was fun.
Yes.
So he'd break down the show tunes and fancy rhyming home run calls. So you can't go wrong with John Sterling. I met him once, by the way.
Is he cool?
He was very cool. He was, I think, slogged out of his mind in a restaurant. But I went up to him and said, "Hello, John. I just want to introduce myself." I said, "I'm Kevin Mulhearn." He really cared what my name was. But I said, "You've given me a lot of pleasure listening to the games over the years. I just want to thank you for what you do." He couldn't have been more gracious.
That's all.
Then he ordered another drink. so,
Did he get you one? As long as he got you one, you know what I'm saying?
No, I don't think I was in this capacity at that point. So, but he could not have been nicer. So
how could you not be?
So yeah. So it's interesting. A guy like that, he does what he loves his whole life. Lucky guy. Think about the fun that guy had
a ton of fun.
all the way through his 80s. He was calling games.
That's crazy.
That's baseball, Susan.
Absolutely.
I wanted to talk to you some fun stuff for a second. I'm going to segue off the hustle for a second.
Did we have a sponsor?
Who's the sponsor this week, Joe?
So our sponsor this week, I believe, is the Advanced Player Academy over in Waldwick, New Jersey, and they are extremely happy and they're excited to be able to be the sponsor of Forward Better Athletes, Better People.
What are the age groups?
So over at the Advanced Player Academy, they train kids anywhere from 7 to pro. They have all kinds of programs, and they have club teams also. So we were very excited to be able to hear that they wanted to come in and promote the show, and they love what we're doing.
Static.
So you were saying that now we have something cool going on here.
Well, I just want to talk a little bit baseball lingo euphemisms because I have somebody has asked me to say talk about some your sayings baseball. So specifically, they asked me to talk about the derivation of McFilthy. So
listen, everybody listening, please listen to this because this is crucial. This is like money in the bank right here.
So you understand when Dennis played for Bosco or Waddick or now Union College, it doesn't really matter what team he plays for because I'll do it no matter what. But when one of our pitchers throws a nasty curveball, usually a cold strike 3 on a nasty hook, I will yell out, McFilthy, as loud as I can. McFilthy. If the guy strikes out the second batter in the inning on a nasty curve, he gets a McFilthy redux. And if he strikes out the side on a nasty curveball, it's McFilthy on steroids. And everybody in the stands just has the same reaction you have. They all crack up.
It's awesome.
just too funny. But
I witnessed it. I was there.
sometimes when I don't do it, people say, McFilthy, what's going on? But I had fun with that because McFilthy was the name that we came up. And I'll tell you how we actually came up with that name. We're sitting in Diamond Nation one day, me and my compadres. I think it was Steve Gilpin, Joel Pena, and Andy Wingfield. We're watching the game. We're talking about an organization known as the Dirtbags. And I'm saying, and I went on a riff. I said, guys.
South Carolina, right?
Not for nothing. How the hell do you ever have your child join a team whose name is the Dirtbags? Can you imagine having a conversation? You're at a dinner party at some fancy soiree and say, oh, yeah, my boy just joined the Dirtbags. I mean, how do you do that? How do you name the program the Dirtbags? Now, I don't want to denigrate the Dirtbag program because I understand they actually run a pretty good program.
Yeah, they're good.
And it has some really good teams. But their name is the Dirtbags. So we would joke and say, listen, we can come up in 5 seconds with better names than the Dirtbags. So the name that we picked was McFilthy.
That's awesome.
McFilthy was the name. And then McFilthy veered into the strike three curveball looking. So, and we had so many good pitches over the years at Don Bosco Prep and Watica in particular. There was a lot of McFilthys.
There was a ton of McFilthys.
So the other one that people used to make fun of was the fly ball. Anytime a ball was hit to my boy in center field or any of the outfields on our team, it was can of corn. Can of corn,
man.
And people say, what the hell are you saying can of corn for? What does can of corn have to do with baseball? And do you understand what the derivation of the can of corn is?
I am going to tell you right now to this point, I would say it, and I have absolutely no clue. So tell me, Cap, what is it all about?
So in the day, we used to stock the supermarkets where the vegetables were stocked after the other, and the cans of corn were always on the top. And they would used to have one of those metal clasp things where you would actually have to go with the medical thing,
top, like
get to the top and squeeze it so that it would grab it. And then they would flip it to the guy standing next to them. So that was a can of corn.
Corn.
The easy throw, the easy flip, that's not hard to catch. That was the derivation of that.
Funny and educational, everyone. I learned something new every day.
And yet that now became the baseball
That's awesome.
maxim. Any easy fly ball is a can of corn. Of course, there's the occasional can of corn that
spills,
that falls to the ground and becomes a dented can of corn when they don't catch the ball. But fortunately, Dennis didn't drop too many cans of corn.
You're gonna be like, "Oh, those are a bag of peas."
So
that's awesome.
So that's one of the old baseball things. And I want to ask you some questions because you're a baseball guy.
Let it rip.
Ducks on the pond. Where'd that come from?
Yeah, so ducks on the pond. Like I have a couple of different ones that I use.
For those who are not baseball people, ducks on the pond is basically said when his base is loaded or at least man in scoring position.
Yeah, so like the way I thought about it, now you're gonna laugh. Now I might think into this way too much, but I used to duck hunt. Right? So all the ducks, you know what I'm saying?
Elmer Fudd on me here.
I'm going a little Elmer Fudd on you. So every time you put the decoys, right? Like the bags, let's call it the bags, it would bring the ducks in.
Are you talking dirt bags now?
Right. They're a good group, man. They had the awesomest uniforms. I'm telling you, they were
really.
Yeah, they were like camo yellow.
Yeah, but they still say dirt bags.
They did. I couldn't figure that either, too. So like I always related to the decoys were there, the ducks would come, and then they would never see the decoys, it'd be like ducks on a pond. So like the bags, I always thought were like the decoys. Hey, you got a ton of ducks on the pond. So probably not what it means, but again, that was how I took it. I have a couple of sayings that I use to get attention. They're attention grabbers.
Right.
So we're talking about ducks on the pond. Like for me, I'm always like, hey, there's a couple of steaks on the grill. Right. And the parents love it. They're like, steaks on the grill. I never heard that. Yeah, we got a couple of steaks on the grill. We got to fire it up. You know what I'm saying? So people would be like, yo, that's awesome, coach. Can I use that? I'm like, yeah, of course. They'd be like shrimps on the Barbie. Same thing, right? Hey, we got to fire it up. Got to fire it up. But those are like some of the sayings that I catch attentions to. I got one that I use when we're going to turn two, right? Everybody's 6, 4, 3. I'm like, say faux tray, right? They're like, say faux tray. What is say faux tray? I'm like, say faux tray. 6, 4, 3. I put my own lingua on it, right? So then they'd be like, yeah, what is it the other way? I'd be like, yo, that's faux say tray. So parents would start laughing. Kids, it keeps them loose. But again, I think like these little isms that we have that we bring to the field keeps people loose. Like the game's supposed to be fun. And as coaches, we get to do that.
Well, let's talk about that for a second, because honestly, that is the whole point of playing sports as a kid, and the whole point of a parent with your kid playing sports is to make sure that they have some damn fun. I used to always say before a game, even big games, let's have some fun today. Have some fun.
If you're not having fun, then why are you playing? Nobody wants to play. Seriously, think about that. You think everybody wants to show up? I didn't have any fun today, Coach. I'm just going to sit over here, Coach.
I'll tell you a funny story, Joe. Remember I told you a couple of weeks ago where I had this awful game in the big playoff game to go to the double ABC World Series.
Yep.
I mean, the three errors.
Haunts you to this day, Cap.
And the next year, we're playing the same team, same scenario. There was 14U regional to get the WABC World Series, which was in Tennessee.
Who was it? The Barney Fifes? No,
Barney Fife. You call me Barney Fife?
no, the Barney Fifes. Who was it? Who was it? The Bonnies?
The Gil Hodges.
The Gil Hodges. Gil Hodges.
Yeah.
My bad, guys.
That's a new team. They'll be in the same league as the Dirtbags. The Barney Fives.
Next week, someone's going to sign them up next week.
But the next year, we're playing Shore Road Field, Brooklyn. Same team that beat us the year before, right? Where I had the humiliating 3-error game where my father basically excoriated me beyond belief that night. And we're playing Gil Hodges the next year. Same team, same pitchers, same manager. Everything's the same except we're a year older. And before the game, Gil Hodges was so damn cocky. They kept saying, Hey, let's embarrass somebody today. That was the refrain. They must have said that when they coached, let's embarrass someone today. So we played the Gil Hodges game. It was one of the greatest games I ever played. 14-year-old. We're down 1 run, and I'm up. I get a 1 run, 2 outs, nobody on, and I'm up. So I would have been
couple of steaks on the grill, baby.
No steaks on the grill, but feet staring us in the face. So I get a little squeak out of hit between short and third, base hit. And my father puts the steal sign on, and I steal second. We have a good hitter up here. It was actually Mike Campino, was the cleanup hitter for Nazareth High School down the road. But he gets 2 strikes. The pitch is really good. My father decides to send me to third base. Now the catcher was not wearing cleats. He was wearing deck shoes because he was a substitute and he was going to the game. And he's trying to put his cleats on. My father told the umpires, hey, he's got to play. He can't delay the game. He got deck shoes. That's what he's got to wear. And the umpires bought my father's argument, made the kid play deck shoes. So he's wearing these blue and white deck shoes catching. I'm trying to steal third base. It's the tying run, this huge game. The kid with the deck shoes slips, throws the ball
left
to the
field.
left and over the head of the third base. I score the tying run. We wind up winning the game in extra innings by 1. We wind up representing Brooklyn in the WABC tournament, man, in Tennessee, in Knoxville.
That's a big one.
Tim McCarver Stadium.
That's awesome.
That was pretty neat. And after that night, I wrote about that in Ghost of October. That was the best night of my childhood. And we went to a block party, my whole family, that night, and we actually had the courage to actually ask some girls to dance, which was a big step.
You know what I'm saying? Here we go.
My brother and I were shy kids. We were not ladies' men at 14. And we were doing the white man overbite shuffle.
Moonwalk wasn't there yet, right? Moonwalk wasn't there.
It was the best night of my life as a kid. I remember it distinctly. And the whole night, my father's walking, proud as could be. He's got 5 kids. We're 14. My brother Sean is 12. Deirdre's 9. My baby kid brother is 4. We're walking 4 or 5 blocks from our house to a block party in Brooklyn, which was a lot of fun. Bands playing this and that. And my father kept saying, let's embarrass somebody today. So every time he said that, my brothers and I and my sister would just be cracking up. So for years, until he died, until he was 70 years old, for the next 40 years, anytime he wanted to get a rise out of us, he would talk to before a game. Let's embarrass somebody today. So that was the Mulhearn secret code word that we knew to get ready for a big spot. It was just really funny.
Was there a response after that game that anybody gave to let's embarrass them today?
No, I think my father was classy enough to not do that.
He wanted to,
although
but
I'm sure his handshake was a little
tighter than
a
normal.
little tighter than normal. My father hated to lose. He would have fit in right
That's
well
awesome.
at Don Bosco. Could not stand to lose, especially against these guys. And we wound up winning that game. Just one of the best games. John Whalen hit a home run at 420 feet to center field to win the game in extra innings after we tied the game. I remember how this is 40 plus years now. Well, way more than 40 years, 45 years. and I still remember very much the details of this game. But it was fun. And it was a hell of a lot more fun that game than the year before, the same spot where the performance was not so good. But fun is something that it's a companion to pressure. And I remember watching Kirby Puckett play in the World Series. And that young man, boy, did he have fun playing baseball. And you could see as much
he
as
was good, dude.
Oh, he was really good. But he was really good because he knew how to have fun and to let the pressure overwhelm. And the pressure can be so intense in these games. Every pitch is life or death. And you look at the World Series a few years back when St. Louis was playing against the Rangers. The guy hits the ball to right field. David Freese hits the ball to right field. 2 outs, man at second, 1 run behind. The guy, I think it was Nelson Cruz, he's back in right field. He kind of olays it. He gives a half-assed effort. Ball goes off his glove. They tie the game. They win extra innings. St. Louis wins the Game 7 the next day. The whole World Series changed on one play. That kind of pressure. You look at the same kind of scenario in Game 4 of, or actually Game 5 of the World Series between the Yankees and the Braves in '96. Paul O'Neill makes that play on one leg in right field, the same kind of play that Cruz made.
Oh, yeah.
And he catches it for the last out, that 1-0 game, and Andy Pettitte outdueled John Smoltz. But one play is the difference. And at the end of the day, it's a hell of a lot more fun being on the right side of those games than on the wrong side. But to get there in any event, you got to go with a loose enough mindset to make sure that as much as the pressure's on your back and everybody's watching and it's a big thing, it matters, you still have to have fun with it. And
The coaches used to say to me, because I would always ask, I'd be like, Coach, what's it going to take, like, mentally to get to the big leagues? What's it going to take? They're like, I'm going to tell you what it is, and it's going to sound so simple, and it's probably the hardest thing to do in the world. I said, okay, what is it? I said, you have to figure out how to play the game and be relaxed in a huge situation. And I was like, all right. Like, you need to be able to just slow everything down, slow your heartbeat down, and be able to go out there and be like, hey, I really don't care what the outcome is. And I'm like, what? What do you mean? Don't worry about that. Like, of course I'm going to care. They're like I just said to you, that's the hardest thing to do in the world. You got to be, so when you look at these guys in those big situations and they're successful, you ever watch them, like, slow heartbeat,
yeah,
kind of chill. They're not really
Jeter, best example.
Yeah, but even like Freddie Freeman, like that guy's awesome, dude. Right? All of those guys, like, they slow it down and they're like, they play the game like this is not life or death. It's just a job. And unfortunately, like, this is why I'm here, and I'm going to do it. I'm prepared. I'm going to do it to the best of my ability. But the one thing that, if you look at them, they're always enjoying each other. They're having fun. And I feel like that's like part of the formula, right? We talk about it. We talk about obsession. We talk about fun, right? We got to fit those pieces together. And if you can do that, you got to, there's a start there to be somebody.
But a lot of it is coaching personalities sometimes too. You have an uptight coach. I remember the Yankees when Joe Girardi was managing. He was really uptight. You can see, and they played uptight sometimes. A guy who's a little looser, you were a loose coach. You know how to be loose. You had that balance really good.
You know how I learned that though, Cap? I learned that from when I went to Italy. I'm not even gonna lie about it. Like, I probably was one of those hard-nosed guys, maybe a little before I went to Italy,
right,
with the younger guys, because I was successful, right? But that's how I was coached. Now, don't get me wrong. It was never to the point of where I was like militant. We always had to have fun, right? We had to keep. But when I went to Italy, dude, I struggled. Like, I couldn't talk. I couldn't. Thank God Daniele, my assistant coach, could translate for me. Like I told you in the other podcast, I don't know if he was telling the truth or not. He was telling what I said, but I really had to figure out, because what happened was, I went there and I was from the U.S., So all these guys were looking at me like, we have a manager I was a baby over there compared, like the guys who played for me were like 42 years old, you know what I'm saying? Like signing contracts, stuff like that.
How old were you?
So I was 25, right? No, 26. I was 26. So I was a baby. I just got done playing pro ball, like, you know what I'm saying? But I went there and I was stressed out because like I expected these guys to win. They couldn't understand what the hell I was saying. I was trying to show them things that they needed to do. So finally, I just took a step back and I said, you know what? Like, these guys, I have to learn a little bit of their way in order and put my way in at it and mix it up so that the soup is good.
Yep.
And that's kind of what happened. But I learned a lot from them. So there are just certain times, there are certain groups, and I think you'll agree with me on this, that as a coach, we need to know the kids that you have to be a little tougher on, and then the kids that you got to be like, okay, they're going to do a lot of this on their own. They know what they're doing. You have to trust them because they see that. And as soon as those players, like, they realize that you trust them, dude, they'll run through a wall for you.
Right.
Because then you can actually have fun. When you're out there and you're getting ready to go, like, I know everybody's like kumbaya and hey, rah, rah. But like as a family, like as a team, as a unit, when you get in there and you're talking to them before you go out there, you're like, hey guys, listen, man, I got your back today. And they're like, we know.
And it comes down from the coaches. It's also comes down from parents a little bit. I think just to make sure that fun is there. I can tell you this, watching the games at Union College last year, I'm so appreciative of John Muller and his coaching staff by how much they encourage the kids to have fun. And I can tell you, my kid's almost 20 years old, and I'm watching him play, and he's having the time of his life. And I see these big smiles all the time, just having so much fun. And that's what it's all about. I'm so proud of the fact that he could have fun. That it's just a job. It's not just I mean, we put so much pressure on our kids sometimes. Just to take a step back and say, have fun and mean it, and allow it to happen. Allow that fun to predominate. It's and again, you have to be obsessed to have that fun, because by obsession you get good, and by getting good you win, and by winning you have more fun. It's a lot more fun to win.
But wouldn't you say having fun keeps you relaxed? Right? You would say
absolutely.
Dude, I told you. That's what they told me. I couldn't believe it. They were like, playing, you have to be able to play this game at the highest level, as tough as it is, as relaxed as possible. And you're sitting there going, oh, yeah, I could do that. And then you get there and you're like, whoa.
When I was Little League coach, I could generally tell almost every kid on either team whether they were going to hit the ball or not hit the ball by just how they were grabbing the bat, whether they were grimacing or relaxed. You could just see how they hold the bat. You can see how they stand. Even before they hit the ball, you can almost predict it.
How about these guys? Ready? You're talking to them and all of a sudden they go like this.
Yeah.
Before they, and all of a sudden you see and the guy and the parents.
The sawdust is coming off their hands.
Like all of a sudden they were nice, and all of a sudden they turn over their shoulder, and all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, the Grim Reaper is there, and somebody's out there going, go like this, and you're going, oh my God.
But just think of it. Look at the counterpoint there. It's about fun. What is the kid thinking if he knows that if he doesn't get a hit, or if he doesn't hit a ball in the gaps or what have you, that he's going to hear about it and he's going to get verbally assaulted that night when he comes home? That's because that's not fun. It's not fun to have this game that you're pouring your heart and soul into and not succeeding to the level that you want. And it's hard enough to deal with that level of failure to begin with, but then to go home and to get a verbal assault because of it, you're only just making it worse. Not only is it not fun, it's the exact opposite of that. It becomes a chore, it becomes a burden rather than a joy, and that is a crime, to rob the kid of the ability to have joy in playing the sport. These are sports. The word is sport. It's not job. It's sport. It's got to be fun, and as a parent, we as a parent and you as a coach have to be careful to make sure that we don't rob our kids of the joy of playing by putting so much pressure on them that they can't possibly enjoy it, even if they succeed. They have so much pressure that it has to be something they need to do rather than something they want to do.
So here's a little secret. Ready for this?
Yeah.
And when I coach the younger guys, and I'm in a dugout and we're in a game. Whether the kid strikes out, gets a hit, whatever it might be. And I know the parents are lurking. They're lurking. You know what I'm saying? I always say something loud enough in a positive manner for that kid. Most of the time it's the kids who strike out or the kids who made an error. I say it loud enough so that everybody can hear it, especially their parent. So if they strike out, oh, dude, good cut, man. We were right on it. You're right on it. Right? I'm always positive. And I'll tell you, I found that helps the situation more than not, because really what this comes down to is parents get pissed off when their kids fail because they think it's a reflection of them. That's all it comes down to. And they get mad because it's, what am I, now I'm terrible. And that's not it at all. They're just kids. It's a really hard sport. Sports are hard, right? And they're learning, and just let them continue to process and move forward. But I found that out at a really, like when I first started coaching club, I was like, oh my God, this parent would be like on the edge of the dugout and he would be upset. And I'd be like, okay, whoa, I got to figure out something. So you guys can tell, Kat, you can tell how loud my voice is, right? So I could be like, whatever it might be, something. If the kid made an error in the field, I'm like, dude, listen, you took a little, the attack angle was right, but the glove got down there a little late. We'll get better at it, right? We'll practice it. And they'll be like, yeah, coach, okay. And the parent will be like, yeah, we got this. He's going to practice it. Oh, that's awesome.
As opposed to a coach just berating the kid for making the error.
Why did you miss it? Why did you miss? Because now that fuels the fire, because now the coach just embarrassed the kid, which realistically just embarrassed the parent, because parent is the kid's parent. So now it's like a reflection of them. So it's a really bad world.
Do you feel parents react the way that if they hear a coach getting on their kid, they take that as a personal affront to themselves?
Oh, yeah. Most of them do. And then that's where the conversations are had. But the coaches that scream and yell at young kids like that and they don't teach, they don't care. Parents are going to be like, Coach, I don't really, well, then you can just go. They don't care. Because it's really not about development, or it's not about their kids. It's just about winning. And if it's just about winning, and I get it, we all love to win, right? I get that. But there are different ways to do this, especially with kids that are young. And I think if you would go interview 99.9% of the big leaguers, they'll all tell you the same thing. They'll say, just go let them have fun, man. Let them play. And as they get older, no one is going to know anything until they're freaking a junior in high school. When they get to become a junior in high school, some guys are maybe a little bit more mature earlier. That's fine. But for the most part, when they're 16, 17, 18 years old, you're going to know. You're going to know whether they got a shot or not. But up to that point, let them play, man. The more reps they get out there, the more friendships they make, the more experiences they get. I'm all for the club stuff as long as it's not off the hook, right? Because I do it. But I try not to have my parents travel out of state all the time. It gets really expensive. Most parents, most families, more than one kid. It's tough. So you're trying to make it mix. You want them to be able to compete, play at a high level. Trust me, in state, there are plenty of teams to play. If you can't compete in your own state, do not go out of state. Because I love when the teams are like, you've been there. I love when the teams are like, oh yeah, listen, we're gonna go to Texas this weekend. And you're like, oh man, how'd you guys do in Texas? Oh yeah, we were 0-4. And how many runs did you put up? None. And how many did you give up? 140.
Yeah.
Like, did you get an IOP? Was it worth the $10,000 for your family to go out there? Maybe. Okay, but not for everybody.
That's a good barbecue.
You know what I'm saying? Taking that $10,000 and invested it, and in 10 years I could have made $1 million. So my point is, I get it. The experiences, the family, but you got to use your head. People are crazed. They keep drinking the Kool-Aid, man. But we'll get into that into another segment. But
Okay.
I figured while we're on it, I might as well throw that out there. But yes, to answer your question, parents get freaked out like that because they feel like it's a reflection of them. You're attacking them ultimately.
So obsess, have fun,
And hustle. That's it, man.
That's the mantra for the day.
Absolutely.
Okay.
That is the mantra for the day.
So, Joe, are you ready to talk about your personal announcement at the end of this podcast?
So I am. So at the last podcast, I said that we were going to make a big announcement. So the announcement that I need to make to everybody, and it's not an easy one, but I am very fortunate to have this opportunity. I am going to take a varsity job over at Pope John in Sparta, and my boys are actually coming with me. They're going to transfer over. My one son who's at Bosco's, he's having a hard time with it, but he's gotten through it. He's met some really great people there. My younger son loves it. He's a freshman. He was not at Bosco, so starting at a new school. Again, I want to thank Pope John for giving me this opportunity and giving my boys this opportunity and my family, because we love the area, we love the people, we love the school. And I do need to thank, of course, everybody at Don Bosco Prep for the last 15 years. Runes, Dwyer, Jimmy, Chevy, Makes, of course, my boy Vic, everybody, Cal, it's over there, the entire administration, as Father Abe, Vince, Marson, everybody, Tommy, just everybody. This is the best thing that I feel that's going to be for me and my family. And as hard as it is to leave Don Bosco, I'm extremely excited for this new venture and this new opportunity at Pope John. They are, like I said, they are great people, and it's a great staff, and we're very excited to be a part of it. I can't wait to see where it goes.
Well, Coach Joe, I wish you all the best at Pope John. I don't know if I'll be rooting for Pope John against Don Bosco. Maybe. Depends. But of course, I'll be rooting for you. But at the same time, you will be missed at Don Bosco. I can say that for sure. And I can tell you, having a son who played for you at Don Bosco on the junior varsity, it was really a pleasure and a privilege to be a parent of a child who was under your tutelage as coach, and feel very blessed and lucky to have had you as a coach. And I know many of my fellow Bosco parents feel the same way.
Well, that is greatly appreciated, and the feeling is mutual for sure. And at least now when we have our little banter, not only about Bosco and Joe's and Bergen, we can throw Pope John in there too.
So what are the colors? What are the Pope John colors?
So they're gorgeous. They're navy, gold, and white, like Notre Dame. I know Kat likes those colors. Yeah, that's right. They stand out. They look really good.
If you recall, the 2025 state championship Bosco team had a tough game against Pope John in the playoffs. I think we only won by one. I think it was a 2-1 game.
It was a good fight. Yeah, it was a good fight.
Pope John's pitcher was excellent, and they played a good game. So
I'm excited.
I seriously wish you all the best. And Pope John is non-public B now, right?
Yeah, we're non-public B.
Okay, so you won't have to run into Bosco in the playoffs.
We do play them. We do play Bosco during the year, but we don't have to run into them during the playoffs. So
what's the team that's a powerhouse in non-public B?
So I think it's Gloucester, right?
Yeah,
Gloucester Catholic.
Yeah,
we're gonna beat them up too.
Okay.
I'm just yeah.
Obsessed.
Yeah,
obsessed. Have fun
and hustle, baby.
Thanks, Joe.
Absolutely,
folks. It's been fun. It's been a pleasure. See you next week.
See you next.
Moving forward. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Forward. If today's conversation helped you, we'd love for you to subscribe and share it with someone who cares about developing better athletes and better people. Forward is a Hard Knock Press publication where we're building books, conversations, and ideas that challenge conventional thinking and help people grow. Until next time, keep moving forward.